Let's talk skin. Let's talk truth. This is Barefaced Chat, and I'm Kelly Sainer. I've spent over 2 decades in aesthetics, seen behind the filters, under the makeup, and beneath the skin. On this podcast, we strip back the noise and get real about beauty, identity, and everything in between. In this episode, we talk intuition, independence, and the quiet rebuild with Emily. We discuss the retreat, the connection, the breakup she went through, and her identity shift. We delve deeper into her intuition and corporate structure and well-being at work. Because skin isn't just skin, it's your story, and I'm here for it. I'm Kelly Sainer. Are you ready for some barefaced chat? Disclaimer, the views shared in this episode are personal opinion and are not intended as medical advice. Always consult with a qualified professional before making decisions about your skin or health. I'm going to introduce you, Emily M, as we all like to refer her as. Little M. Little M. Because I feel like it's important for people to know your backstory, who you are. Thank you so much for joining me. I couldn't have wanted something more pure for us in this moment, especially because what we experienced, I think being at that retreat, which is where we met, for those of you that don't know where we met on Caroline's Waterfall retreat, and it was such a sacred moment. Now, I never thought I'd use these sort of like spiritual words, but I'm turning into this weird spiritual person. But you've been on that journey longer than I have, I think, with very good reason. But you brought something to me that I hadn't had, and you filled in a piece of me. And I just think you are beautiful as a person, and I am enjoying getting to know you more. We've got something else coming up at the weekend, but I want everybody to hear about you. And I know this is slightly out of your comfort zone. You were like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get on with it. I'm going to do it. Have you done podcasts before?
No.
This is your first one.
Congratulations to both of us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, the reason why I want people to do this, and I enjoy listening to people's stories, is because I think the everyday person is a superhuman. They've got a story to tell.
Yeah.
And I love doing. Do you listen to podcasts?
Yes. Yeah, I do. Like I was saying earlier, that I try to listen to them at work, and then I'm just in the podcast and not doing my job.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So true though, isn't it?
But I just find it fascinating to hear different people's opinions. So your podcast, listening to Becky's story was just incredible.
Yeah.
But then I listen to things like Luana, the podcast, and that's very open opinions and quite different. But I'm just here for hearing about people and
I love that.
more.
It's almost like a Big Brother moment, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
We got obsessed as a nation with just listening to normal people, not the celebrity. Yeah. And that's what I do in my daily life. Like at the clinic, I listen to people and think, everybody else needs to hear about this. Yeah. It's amazing. So that's why I love doing this. And I'm so delighted that you've come on.
Yay.
It's amazing.
So nice to be on.
Honestly,
really nice.
I cannot wait to introduce you. So for everybody that doesn't know this wonderful human, this is Emily. She is somebody, like I say, that I've met at the Waterfall retreat, and we literally sat. I felt like there was an energy when we met. We sat in the hot tub, and it sounds very romantic.
It is.
Wasn't just the two of us. There was more of us in there. And it felt like there was a really like unspoken moment between us, with what you'd been through. We actually even vocalized that, I think. When, I think anybody like looks at you, I think that they see this sort of quiet, maybe unassuming person, but you are so much more than that. So I want to talk a little bit about that. But we shared a moment when we went under at a sound bowl ceremony, which we're going to get into because it was so profound. So you need to everybody needs to hear about this. Like it was incredible. But let me tell you first then, on paper, you work for a finance company? So you do the marketing, don't you, for pensions finance company?
Yes.
It's very corporate, very structured, and that is so far from your personal life.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievable. And I think that being able to marry the two, you have to have like an inner knowing, speaking voice, so, everybody needs to know that about you. I feel like after meeting you, You've got a very natural intuition. You're very grounded. You've always been called, I remember what you said on the hot tub. You said that you were called a bit magic. You were like magical person, which is unbelievable. And I was so down to hearing more about that. But you are emotionally intelligent, quietly powerful, and unassumingly exciting. I just think you're gorgeous. But when the retreat was announced, you mentioned that you arrived there because you just ended a 6-year relationship. And I think that was the one that you thought was going to be there forever.
Yeah.
So a real heart gut-wrenching moment. But instead of you retreating inward, you went out and you wanted to just make this be better for you and understand yourself from it, which I think is incredible. You mentioned in your bio that you protect yourself on a Monday, self-care Mondays. I need to get into that.
It's so good.
I swear to God.
It's the best.
Even though I own the companies, I act like an employee. I'm like 9 to 5. People are like,
no holidays.
You can come whenever you want. I'm like, no. So I have to get into this self-care moment. But so we're going to talk a little bit about that. But, I feel like you have really managed to balance that. So I think people need to understand that and give themselves a break for doing that, because people still believe they can't.
Yeah.
I don't know what your work was like, but again, we'll get into that. So given that you're a mental health first aider as well, I want to get into that a bit and why you chose to do that, whether it was something to do with something going on with you or helping others. I get that vibe from you anyway. I feel like your energy comes from a place of emotionally heart leader-led, which I love. So Emily.
Yes.
Welcome to Barefaced Chat. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's so exciting. I was saying this is just going to be like a nice little catch up.
It feels like it. I love it. It already feels like a catch up.
Yes.
We shared so many moments, so many times, so many looks. But before we get into the podcast, I want you to tell everybody.
Settle in, babes.
Settle in, babes. This is a good one, guys. Popcorn at the ready. Yeah. I want you to tell everybody what happened in that sound bowl session.
There's no words. No, there are words. We're fine. This is a podcast. There has to be words. So, I mean, I've done sound baths before, sound bowl ceremonies, all of that at women's circles. I've never done the sound bowls myself. I don't know how people do it, but it's just, I've tried. It's not, anyway. But we were in a beautiful space anyway, all sort of lying next to each other. It was great, like yoga mats splashed up. We were so connected at that point.
It was unbelievable.
So that connection was already there. And then normally during a sound bath, I feel very much in my head and a lot of thoughts going on around me.
Yeah.
But for that one, I think I was just so relaxed that I was just like, I'm just going to let this take over and I'll go wherever with it. And then we were lying next to each other, maybe near each other. We were definitely lying near each other anyway.
Bearing in mind, this is 15 women that came together that 15, had never met before.
And we'd not met before, obviously, as well. So, and we are lying there. I'm fully in it. I'm like, I don't even know where I am at this point. I felt like my body had just lifted and I was just going, right, who am I going to go visit? And I just felt myself starting to get this overwhelming worry and concern. And I was like, I feel like I'm worrying about a son, but I don't have children. It's not me. Like, who am I connecting to here? And then
this still gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then I was just like, okay, just let it happen. And then energy shift came back into my body and it was like, okay, we're back into the space, blah, blah. And I sat up and I'm like looking around like, who's worrying about their son?
It's crazy.
And I looked at you and I was like, were you worrying about something? Were you worrying about your son during the thing? And you're like,
this is a true story.
Yes, I was. I was like, okay, I felt that. I took on that worry for a little bit and it just felt like I'd gone into your energy and felt whatever you were feeling.
It was unbelievable. It's never happened to me before. No. Had it happened to you before?
No. Like I've had connection. I do feel like I connect to energy a lot more around places and locations. So to actually have that with a person and someone so new into my life, I was like, right, we're connected on a whole other level.
100%.
And I'm here for it.
100%. I mean, it was unbelievable. That retreat, it's connected us forever.
Yeah.
It was like a web that we didn't know we needed.
Yeah.
It was unreal. And we're not just going to talked about that, but it was so profound for us. And that's why you're here today, because we do have this genuine connection, but I want to hear more about you. Okay. But this lifting out of your body, I mean, this is all new. This is all new territory. Yeah. Was that a feeling that you'd had before?
No, like it's weird because I mean, as you said, magic, that's just what I associate with all the time since very young. Always been intrigued by energy, spirits, whichever. But to actually sort of feel myself lift out of my body, because I mean, everyone had so many profound experiences, and I was like, this is not hitting for me. And I was like, maybe I need to refine my magic. And that happened there. And I was like, I've really let go of something here to give myself that permission to go
that makes sense.
all in. And
God, that
I just
makes
loved
so
it.
much sense.
I
Well,
really loved it.
To give everybody listening some context, like I had gone on the retreat. It was the first time I'd like had some time and space for me. I'd been away from my kids like for 4 days. This was a big moment. Yeah. I was there because of self-worth. I told you about that. Like for me, it's always been a bit of an issue, feeling like I belong. And it being okay to just endorse me. And I was really not, I wasn't comfortable with it. You know, I have to think about the boys, have to whatever. And also letting myself go on social media. Like we were saying, like Caroline's so fluid with this phrase, like, hi guys, I'm just, and I'm like, right, face on, hello, corporate face. Who is this? Exactly. So it's never been like easy. I was like, can I put it on social media? Will people know? You know, well, what will people think of me? Because will they be like, oh my gosh, how can she do that? You know, she's left a kid. I'm like, oh my God. And I was genuinely thinking, this experience was so amazing. Can I share it? So I was really worrying about the knock-on effect for the boys. So that's where it had come from. So obviously that was really, really energetic in me for you to pick up on it. Yeah. Yeah. It was really powerful. Intense. Yeah. But it came from such like a caring place. It wasn't, I don't know, there was just something about it where it was almost comforting and having that almost motherly energy. Maybe it was me missing my mum as well, like that brought that connection closer. Who knows? We could delve into that for hours. Yeah. But there was just something that brought us together, and it was nice that you obviously gave permission for me to be like, hello, I'm stepping into your energy and I'm going to worry with you now. It's fine. It was crazy, absolutely crazy. But I mean, that is something that we will never forget. Yeah. It was so powerful. When you looked at me, I was like, oh my God, I need to know this woman even more. Yes. So let's get into it. I wanted to talk a little bit more about you going on your decision to go on that retreat. We'd never done one before. We've established that. Tell me what brought you there in the first place. 2 things really. One thing was that Caroline had done another retreat and I missed out on that. And I think there's many reasons why I missed out on that. That just wasn't the space for me to be in. My relationship had just ended and I'd already heard about this retreat coming up. You know, like Caroline had dropped hints. And then as soon as I ended my relationship, I was like, right, I need to be at that retreat. And it was just perfect that I was one of the chosen ones. It was just great. I was like, I so need this. I think since just saying yes to that retreat, that's what's been a massive shift as well, of just saying yes to things. You're right. But then also setting boundaries and, you know, knowing when to say no. Yeah. But that thing of just like, this is for me. This is so needed. That is so true. That's so powerful, actually. Yeah. The power of saying yes. Yeah. I think we forget that because, you know, we beat ourselves, you know, up for saying yes too many times or saying no or whatever, and really listening to that like intuition. And like, I knew I had to be there. You knew you had to be there. You don't know why, but it's like that real, like intense, I have to be there. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why, but we know now. Why. Oh, exactly. After the 4 days, after being there, after meeting people, you talked a lot about your family. You talked a lot about your work and your relationship, but in a really like soft way, in a non like, you know, like verbal kind of like, I need to get this out. You did it in a really like soft, easy to listen to when you were ready way. Yeah. But we still learn about you. Yeah. After the 4 days of being there, and then we're going to get on to a little bit more about, you know, your work and stuff. What was it that you learned and took away from that journey? Because it was a journey. It was a journey. And I really like that word, journey. I think for me, it was being okay to be around people again. Yeah. I had
secluded myself so much. I loved my last relationship was the best relationship I had, put it that way. And for it to end just felt so weird. And I was almost scared of making connections again, because I was like, how could something so good come to an end? And is that just going to keep happening?
Got you.
But in that retreat, it was like, at the start of the retreat, I was a bit like, I don't want to connect. This is really scary. And then by the end of it, I was like, I've made friends for life. And I think that was, and that friendship's still there. And it's like, it's okay for things to come to an end. It doesn't mean the end to everything. And you can still have incredible connections. Just because one thing has ended doesn't mean that's going to happen for everything. And we've got the group chat and stuff. We've got the workshop this weekend. We've got another retreat coming up. And I think it's just, putting yourself out there again and being okay to connect with people.
That is absolutely incredible. That, like I say, you are so intuitive. Like the way you speak about it, though, the words that you use, it's okay, to say yes. I didn't want a connection, but I realized that just because one thing doesn't end, so many people will listen to that and go, oh, thank God, you've just given them permission to be able to tap into that. What is that? But I don't think that not everybody can do that, because they haven't got that inner motivation, which is, when you feel shit, you just end the relationship, like the relationship's ended. You just want to, like, inner child, fuck you, eat pizza in bed. Like,
how do you know?
I did do that. But you go absolutely, you can go one way or the other. And you came out. And I think that's something in you that has been wanting to do that. And I think that's what people need to listen to and give themselves a break on, because there's bigger things for you, girl.
Can't wait.
So back to the relationship then. We do talk a bit about this, and I think people, if you're okay to talk about it, you touched on it then, to like the end of something into something new. In terms of like the cycles, and are you, going from all the feelings of grief, fear, loss, did you that happen to you as well before you went on? Because it's a big moment to go on a retreat. Like, I've been divorced and, come out the other side, and I feel more human and more me than I ever have. That whole cycle of emotion for you, did that happen before the retreat, or did a lot of it come out?
The emotions that have come through have been so random and at such random times. So as the relationship was ending, I knew something wasn't right. So there was already an energy shift there. Then I ended it, and it's almost been a year now.
Wow.
Yeah. So I, went and told my sister and my mum, and there was a lot of emotion then of telling them. And then it was almost just like, I just felt numb to it all. And I kept saying that I don't feel like I'm crying enough. I don't think, it's really weird. But then I'd have random moments. Like, I just remember one day, and it sounds ridiculous, I couldn't find my sunglasses, and it felt like the end of the world. And I was raging. I was crying. I was getting angry. I was like, what is going on? And it was my mum who was like, mate, you've been through a lot.
It's so true.
You're still going through a breakup. And I was like, oh,
it's not about the sunglasses,
like,
is it?
It's not the sunglasses.
Never about the sunglasses.
I was a bit upset that I lost them, but I found them. It was fine.
The metaphor in that.
So it would just come up in random things. And then the retreat was about 6 months after. And in my head, I did actually think, oh God, I'm sorry if my ex listens to this and is like, what are you on about? So in my head, I was like, okay, in 6 months' time, me and my ex could be back together, or we won't be. But that retreat is going to make that decision as to what happens next.
Wow.
And we didn't get back together. I'm still single, and I'm really happy for his journey. And that's because as well that mine's gone exactly where it should as well.
Okay.
And
you've trusted.
When it got to, so it was October in my head. I thought, October, there's something sticking out for it. It's the retreat. Those are going on. There's just something about it. And it was just like something clicked. And I was like, you're not meant to be with him, and he's not meant to be with you. Wow. And you're meant to be at the retreat. You're meant to be doing all of these different things. Wow. This is a whole new path. So I never had that real deep emotion. I'd have moments of getting upset, but I don't know. I just always had faith and positivity, which, as cheesy as it sounds, is just exactly what I needed. And there were still times when I get like, oh gosh, what have I done? I mean, I said to you before, I've downloaded Hinge, and I'm like, what have I done? But then I'm out of it again and being like, do you know what? You are where you're meant to be.
Yeah.
And I've just always trusted that, and everything happens for a reason. All of that is me to a T.
That's amazing, though.
I think I went all over the show answering that question, but
no, I don't think you did. I think you answered it in a really like human way. I think that, you know, that most humans feel that there should be a way that we react or a way that we respond. This was a big relationship for you. You expected, you sort of thought you were going to act. You probably reacted as your higher self.
Yeah.
Because your human self could have been like uber dramatic. Yeah. You know, the sunglasses moment was like a probably human self moment. Oh my God.
Are they?
I love sunglasses. It's like when the relationship ends and they say, he didn't do the dishwasher. It's like, never about the dishwasher. You know, didn't put the bins out. It's never about the bins. So, you know, I feel like you did answer that in a really human way, because it's okay to feel what you feel in the moment, because you think that you should be acting a certain way. Yeah. I should be crying more. I should be, and you know, you shouldn't. You did it in absolutely the way you should. And I think that's a real testament to who you are and where you've been and the magic that you've got, because that is, like you say, it's absolutely meant for you. And one of my questions was, did the retreat accelerate your healing? And I never ever, Sam knows this, I go totally off piece. I always end up like, because I research you and I want to talk about you and I have these questions that I want to ask, but I never go through the questions. Do I like literally they just come out and I'm like, we've done all of it without even realizing, because you answer it very, very naturally anyway. If we can shift it a bit and pivot from that and into sort of your day-to-day life. Yeah. I'm really interested in understanding how you marry the spiritual connection that you've got with your corporate structured life. You're obviously very logical. On like part of your brain's very logical to do what you do, working in like pensions and stuff. Tell me a bit about the role that you've got, and then we'll look at the connection.
Yeah. So, marketing consultant. So when people hear marketing, they're like, oh, you're on the social media. Wow. I'm like, no, I'm not. It's very much like around writing letters, and which feels like we've just gone back. I write letters.
Love that.
Yeah, I'm very much in that point. But yeah, and it's really interesting because I joined the pensions company about 7 years ago. Yeah. And it was not somewhere where I expected to be. But
Was it not?
No. So like I came from I worked somewhere before there, and I'd done my time there, and I was like, I need to move on. Yeah. And I didn't know where to go. My mum already worked at this pension company, so we do actually work together, different departments. But she was like, just come to this company. It's a stepping stone. It gets you out of where you are. So I was like, great, let's do all it. In. 7 years later, I'm still there.
Wow.
But I think because it's a place where I do get that flexibility. Yeah. So with my role, it's, you know, a marketing consultant role, and people could think, God, what you do sounds really boring. It's finances and writing letters. Really? But I think because we talk about customer understanding, helping, you know, vulnerable customers out there as well. Nice. I think that's where I really find, you know, the values of the company mean a lot to me.
You've made it work for you, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, actually, I am meant to be here. And yes, it's something that could be seen as boring, but for me, I just make it interesting, and I see deep within why these letters that we send out are important. Yeah, and I think that's what I find really like. That's what I'm passionate about. Basically, is taking a job that could be mundane to being like, do you know what? I'm going to make this like valuable.
You're fucking superstar. I swear to God, you. That's how I see it. Literally. Yeah. I'm the same, you know. I approach everything like that. Yeah. You know, if it's boring, I don't make it boring, and you need to find the best in it. Yeah. And you do that, and that positivity you can see from you is just natural. And I think that it you know, most people would either sink or swim. Yeah. And be like, you know, live to work to live, and all that kind of stuff. But you obviously made it your own. In the environment that you're in, is it female led? Is it not? Is it a mixture?
So it's pretty much female led. Right. We've got a lot of females in the department, which is strange because I've gone from companies who have been very male orientated. The department previous to that, it was mostly men. And, you know, I found my banter through things like that. You know, the way I am, I think some of my resilience has come from being around male energy, and you've got to have that. But it's actually really nice to now be in a department where there's a lot of females, and seeing that leadership, like seeing females in leadership roles is just, it's inspiring. And it's great.
Has it helped you? Yeah.
Definitely. And I think there's a whole different understanding as well. Like, you know, going to, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead here, but with my Wellbeing Mondays, like having that permission to do that and seeing that there's different ways, that it's not just because you've got, you know, people think you should only go part-time if you've got kids, because you've got kids to look after. But I was like, I don't have kids, I just want time to myself.
Oh my God.
And there's just that understanding.
That's
and it's
amazing.
You know, we see a lot of variety within the women in the department of whether they're flexible working or not, and how their lives are led. And
there's still
really
a stigma
nice.
around it, isn't there?
Oh yeah, definitely a stigma around it.
Did you get judged for your Wellbeing Mondays? When you approached the company, were like, I need the Monday off?
There wasn't judgment. I think it was absolutely fine. I think, again, it's a really good company. I think if I'd worked in other places and asked for this, then yes, there would still be a huge stigma around it. But where I work now, there's that understanding, which I love. I think
That's
we're one of the
amazing.
lucky companies that we are a bit further ahead with things like that,
Absolutely.
which is great.
It is
Like,
massive, isn't it? It is so true. I think that protecting, they'll get more out of you.
Yeah.
Protecting yourself, protecting your mental health, protecting your space. That self-care is huge.
Yeah.
And more people need to do it.
Definitely.
100% agree with that. Yeah, I think that a lot of what you're talking about from, like, especially a corporate place, I think lots of women in the corporate space, because of this almost like male energetic comparison to I've got to compare myself, I've got to lead, I've got to prove more. And this movement, a lot of women might suppress that need to have those self-care days. And we get an hour at night, and I've not journaled. And if you're not doing that, and you know, some of my girlfriends would be just, I'd be like, why do you journal? Does it help? Like, what's that about? You know, why do you go on a retreat? Oh, okay. Nice. What do you do? Like, I get that. But there's still, you know, this is 100% fabric for me to be able to work like I work, to be the best. And that's what I got from the retreat, from you guys. Be the best version of me for my people, my friends, my family, my children, mum and dad, my sister, you know. Oh, I just thought, you're so interesting. I think people would I think they underestimate you. Do you?
Yeah, definitely.
Why?
Because, so I recently had to speak at an event at work, this is no blame on the other people. I think this is literally me and how I do things. I keep things very low key. As you said, I'm quite quiet and reserved until I get to know you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when I had to do this talk,
I saw you dancing, baby. I know that.
So I had to do a talk at work to about 200 people. And I was like,
wow,
I'm really nervous. And I told everyone, I'm really nervous. I don't think I'm going to be very good. And I really downplayed it. And then I went up and they were like, why are you even nervous?
Did you bring
and
it
I was
up?
like, honestly, I wasn't.
Did you really?
I was nervous like way before, but on the day I was like, I am so ready for this.
Really?
I am so ready to tell my side when it comes to well-being. And it went amazing. I was like, I don't know why I told everyone.
Was it a talk at work?
Yeah. And 200 of my colleagues who know me. And I think, and I don't think it's that they underestimate me. I just don't give the full picture until I'm ready. So they probably have seen me as being quiet. Yeah. Maybe, you know, I send out these emails about well-being, but that's about as far as it goes. Then they saw me do this talk and they were like, oh my God, you're really good. You know what you're talking about.
Did you smash it?
I smashed it.
Yeah,
smashed it, mate.
Love that. So what was it? Tell me about, like, was this a new thing like at work or?
So there's a conference that we do for brand and marketing. Yeah. So it's really nice, actually, a really good way for us all to get together, hear what's going on in, you know, across the department.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, someone had approached me and
200 people.
200 people. And again, this was around, this again is why things happen for a reason. So my relationship ended, got asked about the retreat, and then I got asked to do this talk. And I was like, look at all this stuff happening. I was like, what's going on? Yeah. And I was like, again, yes, this is a yes.
Yeah. And
then they were just like, we just want you to talk about well-being. And we're talking about how looking forward to something, you know, is good for us. And I was like, perfect, no problem, because I've got a retreat coming up, so I know exactly how that feels. So did the retreat, and then the talk was after that. And it was really nice to sort of reflect back and go, yeah, I got asked to do this talk back in March, but the talk wasn't until November.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I've been on the retreat, I've been through my relationship ending, this, and it was really nice to sort of tell people.
That's amazing.
About myself in a work environment as well.
Yeah.
It's like, I love that I've got permission to talk about my woo stuff. I was talking about, going on retreats, meeting people, going into their brains. It's just
never
really
forget this, people.
And the theme of talking about looking forward, I was like, it couldn't be more relevant to what's going on in my life right now and looking forward. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was so good.
Bloody good for you. That's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
I would shit myself if I had to meet 200 people. That's one of my goals.
But as I say, once I was up there, I was just like, this is me talking. I've got the knowledge here. And they want to hear this. It's not just me being like, hello, I'm going to tell you my story. It's like, I've been invited to talk about this.
That is so true. And you need to approach it like that, don't you? Like, they've all been dragged there to listen to me.
I sit down, listen to Emily.
So
eyes
true.
on her.
That is so true. They're there because they want to be there. And, they're there because you have a story to tell. And did you get some positive feedback from it?
So much positive feedback. It was really, really nice. It was really empowering. And just then people coming up to me and being like, oh, I've just been through something similar, or I've been on a retreat and I can recommend this, and connections were built. And again, it was that thing of talking about your shit. Brings people in. It's great.
It's so true.
It'll filter out people who don't want to be in your lives and
so true,
get the people in that do want to be in them.
I completely agree with that. I think for so long I have lived my life by trying to be a bit of a people pleaser, and if they don't like me, why not? And now I have kind of got that, like, a bit more of a bit more of like a, own it attitude. I find my tribe and now I know who they are, and like you say, you filter out people and you realize actually when you are rising in that kind of a way, not in a knobby way, in a nice way.
Yes.
Nobody wants to be a dick, do they? But like when you're ascending in a really like naturally human way, that ego kind of that. I would listen to a talk the other day, a psychology talk about Carl Jung and synchronicity and the connection with the dream world and that kind of thing, which I thought was absolutely fascinating. And they were she was talking about like the ego state. They were talking very much about the different archetypes in life. And somebody said, how do you know how to remove your ego? And she's like, because that's what having an ego is. You shouldn't, the ego is easy to move to the side. Rather than thinking I need to move my ego to the side. You've obviously got a big ego. Yes. It naturally moves to the side, right? So I get that with that, it just comes very naturally, and that's what that talk sounded like for you, a real movement, and shifting your mind and that ability to get that. What an amazing feedback and response that you got. God, if you can't get motivation doing that, I don't know what you can do. So tell everybody about the Mondays for you and when that came in and why it came in.
Okay, so it was a few years ago now, because I remember actually having the chat with Carol Ann and being like, I don't want to work 5 days a week. This is not for me. I can't afford to not work at all.
Yeah, fair.
It's the way with our rich husband, but I was just like, I love doing a job. I love that structure. I am someone who enjoys being organised and learning new things, and the company's a great space to do that. But I also wanted to learn things that I wouldn't be able to learn in the company.
Okay.
I actually did a life coaching qualification, and I was like, maybe this is something, maybe this is a route I'm going to go down and let's see what happens. Very cool. So the life coaching sessions were on a Tuesday, it was like one every month. So I would take a Tuesday every month, and I was like, oh, quite like this.
Yeah.
And then I was like, right, you know what, a Wednesday. I'm going to ask to see if I can have a Wednesday off every week. So that was what it kind of started as. Okay. I asked permission, and there it was. And that was actually, it was a male manager at that time. And he just asked, he was like, you do you. He's like, I know you're doing your coaching. I know you're into your wellbeing. Absolutely, no problem. He just understood, which forever grateful for.
Yeah.
And then I did go through a bit of a dip of being like, I'm not worthy of this. I shouldn't be
Really?
having this time off. I can't afford this. I shouldn't be doing it. And it was really, really weird for me to go through that. And I dropped it to like half a day, and it wasn't even that. I'd still be working from like 8 till about 3, and then I'd get, like 2 hours back. And I was like, yeah, this is fine. And then I was just like, no. And I've just found myself getting really miserable. And I was just like, there's a reason I stopped doing this.
Yeah.
I had a whole think about it again. And then as I moved into marketing and I could see all of these other women doing flexible working, I was like, give yourself permission again. Or that you loved having a day off, take it back. So I had a chat with my people leader, who absolutely adore her. Big shout out. Thanks. And then
hey, people leader, we love you.
And then we just agreed that a Monday will be the day going forward. And I loved that because it meant that my weekend was extended, but to a point of my weekend could just be time spent with family, time spent with friends. You know, I'm still finding that balance. But then Monday is for me. Now, it is my day.
Okay. Are you strict with that?
I am strict with that. And while I do spend time with friends, it's on my terms.
Okay. I love that. Yeah. So that's great.
I've obviously moved back home temporarily while I'm getting a house. And even with my mum and my sister, we have a chat on a Sunday and say, right, well, what's the plan? Like, are you guys going in the office? Have I got that space at home? You know, and we just work it out between us. And it's really nice to make sure that, that Wellbeing Monday is on my terms.
Oh my gosh.
And I love it.
And more people need to do that. Now, if my staff listen to this, I will be getting this in the neck. Like, they'll be like, Cal, Wellbeing Monday.
This is what Emily said. We need to do
Wait, what?
I know, it was lies.
I was about to say be more Emily, but don't. We'll talk about it. But do you think it's something that the workplace should bring in?
I think more people should go for it and be able to go for it. I mean, I know there's always like rumours in companies of, we're going to go to 4-day weeks and everyone seems to be said. And I think it's great that we have that balance, because for some people doing 4 days a week, having a Monday off, they'd be like, absolutely not. I am work orientated. This is me. I want to be here 5 days a week, if not more, if possible. Like some people, that's how people work. But for me, it sets my week up right. And I think there are a lot of people who would benefit from it. And again, it's that thing of, you don't have to go part-time just because you've got children. Go part-time because it's for you. You know, if the reason is because you've got children, absolutely no problem. You do that. But if you've not got children, if you've not got any sort of ties anywhere and you just want a day off, ask that question. It might not be a yes, but there's no harm in asking and exploring that opportunity, because it could change your life.
Well, it clearly is. It's protecting you. And because you believe so heavily in this wellbeing space, I think more people do need to like take a leaf out of your book and really tap into that wellbeing side and you know what to do. You know, how do you make the best of a Monday? What you know, obviously you're quite logical, you like the structure. What do you do on a Monday? Do you mind us asking? Is it very personal?
It's very personal.
Your space, your time and all that.
Exactly, it's my space. So it really varies. I do feel like recently I've kind of gone a bit free with it and just sort of seeing what I've felt on the day. And some days that's literally playing on my Nintendo Switch. I'm like, what am I, 12? I'm here for it. If I'm going to sit and play on that,
that's the point,
no problem.
Isn't it?
Yeah. And but then there's other days. So like next Monday, for example, it'll be right after the vision board workshop. So I know already that it's going to be making sure that my vision board is sort of finalised. Everything is looking how I want it to look. You know, there are little things that I will think, actually, that's how I'm going to spend my day.
Okay.
Bringing in card readings if I feel like I want to bring them. But as long as it's something wellbeing related and it makes me happy. I mean, I have the dentist next Monday. That doesn't make me super happy, but it's wellbeing related. And it just means that it works perfectly for the rest of my week. So it benefits me in many different ways. So not so much structure, but just being mindful of what am I picking? You know, am I doing chores that are going to make me miserable? Don't do them. Don't do them during your Wellbeing Monday. That's not what it's for.
Okay, given you Wellbeing Monday then, given that you've got that time, I would slip into, I'll just do the dishwasher. I'll just do the washing. I would struggle because I'm a massive workaholic. I've really started since being on the retreat and doing all of that. And, you know, and being divorced and coming out of a pretty negative relationship, I definitely find that I've needed to slow down.
Yeah.
Because I felt like busy kept me busy. Yeah. Not thinking. Yeah. Kept me up here, busy. I could then cope.
Yeah.
When I started to slow down, I was like, I used to get like dead lethargic. I cannot do anything. Do you know, which was weird?
Yeah.
But I would get into this, like, when I got no kind of plan, I felt like, you know, there was nothing to do.
Yeah.
So I needed to be busy. But slowing down has definitely, you know, helped me. And could you give some advice for women that are in very corporate environments about, you know, obviously that Monday, don't get into just like mundane stuff. Make sure that it is a day for you to plug in. You know, like we hit these days where it's like unplug, you know, what they call like when you come off your devices and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like,
off the grid. And
that's it, off the grid days and stuff. Do you have that sort of thing? Do you try to just, you know, plan the week accordingly? So if you don't quite get it all done on a Monday, do you then do it on a Tuesday after work? Do you do it on a Saturday? Like,
yeah. So, I mean, it varies really. I think the biggest advice is just, and it's advice, but you're probably going to be like, what you want about it. Just find what's right for you. Okay. If you are someone who likes that structure, which I do, on a Monday in the morning, one of the things that I do actually do is I write a list of things that, you know, if there are things that are playing in my mind, like emptying the dishwasher, if I know that that's going to make me feel good and it's still going to be a slow thing, I might be like, mindfully unload the dishwasher, you know, just do that. But then make sure that afterwards you sit down and have, you know, a herbal tea or sit down and watch your favourite TV programme. Just do structure if it helps you, but make sure that as part of that structure, you are making time to go slow. Just
I think that's really good advice. I think loads of women and men that are thinking of doing that would need that permission because it is still really difficult to, like, I still feel guilty for having a day off. I don't book that in. I need to be able to make sure that I do that. But
100%. It is difficult. It's a tough one. But I think do what's right for you. And if it means bringing structure into it, that's no problem. If it means scheduling time and that's how you justify what you do it in. I think a lot of people, we get envious of those who can just be free with it and go with the flow. And, you know, they're like, I just get my journal. I just do my card. Do it. It can feel uncomfortable and you don't want it to feel uncomfortable. And so if it does and it makes you, if it means you do it by making a list, make that list and do it. It's no issue. Do what's right for you.
Do you have a plan going forwards then? Because you sound very planned. Like you sound so level-headed, grounded. Do you have a plan? We talked about the vision board. I've not been to one of these. This is still a really new, like I say, it's really new territory for me. In terms of your goal then, do you goal set?
So I do goal set, and that's changed a lot since probably about 2018. So that's when I first started going to vision board workshops, and it would be very much the SMART goals of, you know, that structure of what's the specific goal, what's the measurement and so on. And since then, I just found I was overthinking it, really trying to perfect it. And I was like, this is not good. And nothing was coming through. Since last year, probably, I have tried to take that more freedom approach of being like, I know what I want. I know there's things in my life that I want to achieve. But try and trust it as much as you can. So like the talks, for example. So I put on my vision board about, you know, speaking more about well-being and getting more involved at work. I didn't specifically say I want to talk in front of 200 people, but that happened. And I was like, this is exactly what I was meant. Wow. The universe knew it more than I did. So, gosh. Yeah, I do plan, as in I have in my head what I want, but I just kind of go with, okay, that it's going to happen in some way, in the right way.
Wow.
Even, you know, going back into that sort of dating environment and thinking, right, I know exactly what values I want now from a person. I know what I want in my future life, but I can't pick that exact person. That, you know, you can't I wish you could just go into a bookshop and be like, there he is, love of my life. Oh my goodness, here it is.
Yeah.
I've got to put that trust in that person will come into my life at the right time. So it's hard. I'm still learning that. And there are times when I'm like, I need to write this goal down and be very specific. But I am just trying to take that step back. And I mean, you asking me to do the podcast, stuff like that. It's like, because I've let go of that need to achieve things, it's like, it's just happening.
Trust in the now.
It's great.
Not the how.
Yeah.
You know, we talked a little bit about where your card reading and where you are now, and you mentioned like the relationship that you'd had and stuff. Because you're so into well-being, like, and I know it's different. Some people believe well-being to be one thing and other people believe it to be another thing. For you, I feel like it maybe leaned towards spirituality.
Yeah.
What does the term well-being mean? I mean, I know it's like do something that makes you feel good, which you've mentioned before, but it will mean something different to everybody.
Yeah.
Is it to do more with mental health protection? Because a lot of people that's what most people believe it is. Is it because you feel particularly like you've had anxiety in the past and you need to, you know, where has that come from?
So,
bit of a deep question, but
it is a deep question. I'm like, right, so
thought I'd go there.
Yeah, so I've always had a temper. Everyone sort of sees me as this quiet, chilled person, but the sunglasses, for example. You did not want to be in the room when that was happening. I do have a temper, and it used to be a lot worse when I was younger. So around year 9 when I was in school, and you know, it's that point of your womanly gift.
Yes.
It comes to you, it comes to soul. So I don't know if it was linked to that or what, but from there, I just had this anger within me and I didn't know how to do it.
Really?
I didn't know how to cope with it. I was just like, this is just here. And
wow.
It was really quite intense. And I ended up seeing sort of a counsellor coach at that time. But again, a bit, keep giving a little shout out to Caroline, but a bit of her vibe of just going down that sort of, the route of like crystals and herbs and all things like that.
Did it affect your relationships, Emily?
So it was, me and my mum had a lot of fallouts. Had my door taken off my bedroom at one point. Yeah, it was not good. It was really quite bad. It's like something just took over. Yeah. Like it just saw fire.
Okay.
And it was really hard because my mum just, I hated that I had to put her through that. Because it was like, I've talked about this recently, actually. I don't get upset first. I get angry first.
Right, okay.
And I think when people get angry, there's not that sympathy as like
Very
in
true.
the same way.
Yeah.
People see anger and they get fearful.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them because me being angry at that time, I mean, teenagers have had enough without that anger coming into it on a whole other level. So, it really impacted the relationship with my mum, like to the point that I think she was a little bit scared of me.
Yeah.
And my mum and dad were divorced, but they had to come together, sit me down and be like, well, what are we going to do next? Because this can't keep happening. You can't keep having
these blowouts or these bursts. Yeah. Something's going on and we need to help you.
So that was when I went to see this counsellor, and she was incredible, and it was a route that I'd never thought about. I mean, I've always been into sort of the magic spiritual side anyway from a very young age, but to actually get support in that way,
wow,
it was amazing. And I think that's what then changed it for me. So when it comes to well-being, I think it is just taming that fire. Yeah. Not enough to, like, I still want that fire within me. Yeah. But not letting it explode. Like, I recently watched a film about it. Are you allowed to like shout out films?
Of course. Yeah. We can see, we
can I give credit?
Absolutely. We shout
out
everybody.
I've been like dropping this. I'm like,
nothing's off limits.
So the Disney film Elemental. Yeah. And all around that.
Oh gosh, yes.
I only watched it so recently film. And I was like, I should have watched this way earlier because it's great to have a temper. It's telling you something, but you've got to have that safety with it as well. And you don't want it to impact relationships. So for me, my well-being is like, using my fire in the best way.
I think that's a beautiful way to look at it. Yeah. I think that, and thank you for being so vulnerable talking about that, because everybody's inner why is there.
Yeah.
It's about being able to understand what that inner why is.
Yeah.
And I think that will give so many people this. We've talked about this side of you, and you've been really open and vulnerable to say, I do have a temper, and I've learned now how to be able to control it. And I think that film is so right. And that's your inner child as well.
Yeah.
You know, because I think from being young, if it's not tamed, you know, now I've got an 8-year-old, and when he blows, I'm trying to let him know that emotions is okay.
Yeah.
Because we constantly tell our children, don't we? Stop it.
Yeah.
Don't be bigger. Don't be loud. You're not allowed. Don't be angry. You know, don't be frustrated. It's now just trying to work out how we mold that and say, you can be. These are big feelings.
Yeah.
How do we manage it? But I think for women as well, the hormone surge, especially, you know, time of the month, that was obviously a real trigger for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really nice way to like look at it and just be, like I say, really vulnerable around the fact that that's been a big catalyst for you. Because I think that's an incredible thing to own up to and admit.
Yeah.
When I get angry, I get upset.
Yeah.
I get quiet. I get mute.
Yes.
I can't speak.
Yeah.
Which has stopped my boundaries because people just think I take it.
Yeah.
Do you know, so it's a bit different. I don't get that like outward. I just go, okay, and just get very teary. And that's my angry.
Yeah.
Unless I'm learning my voice now. But you know what we talked about the witch wound and stuff and all that, like can't speak. Yeah. So I think it's really interesting that both sides, you've obviously been allowed to speak as well. Yeah. If it's come out, you've been allowed to. You've not been suppressed in that emotion.
Yeah. I think I've got a little bit better with communicating it as well, because there are still moments where, again, living back at home, readjusting to that. And I absolutely love my mum and sister. We get on so well. And sometimes it is that thing of, I think they forget that I've got that anger. Yeah. And they're like, oh, Emily, you're being a bit scary. And I'm like, that makes it worse.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, and so it's having that communication, being like, okay, I did get angry and it probably was a bit scary, but I don't always know how to voice it, how to respond to it. And I don't think I could have done that, like, you know, 10, 20 years ago. Like I would have just been angry and that's it. And then I would have come and apologised and moved on. Whereas now I'm like, I need to communicate this. And
self-awareness though is huge. Yeah. And I think that link to the spiritual world that I'm learning more about and that you're in, it really does empower that. Yeah. And I think loads of people think it's woo-wee. Yeah. And it's not. Some of it is, you can be as woo-wee as you want. Yeah. But it's definitely helped me, and I have consequently met you, which has improved my life. Oh, and mine. Honestly, no, it really has. You don't realise, do you, the relationships that even are silent, that you know, but you're there. You'll never not be there. Yeah. You're always there, and you'll come into the forefront, the back, and think about what you're doing and what we've spoken about. And you'll never lose that. Yeah. Which is just incredible. Moving forward, meeting somebody then, and we'll kind of, before we get on, we do like a sort of Reddit style prompt at the end, which I want to talk about, which is quite interesting. You in 5 years, who are you?
Oh my gosh.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I don't know many people that could answer that, like, you know, in the affirmative.
I think I'm someone who's confident in giving love, using that fire again in the best way. Still, you know, in that corporate life, having that bit of structure and making a difference in that financial area. Ideally, maybe even more part-time and doing more of the coaching. Yeah. Reiki is something I'm interested in. Just having that confidence to explore different things, try different things, not relying on anyone else but myself, but then also welcoming that support as well. I definitely have had last few years of being like, I have to do this on my own. And I have to, I don't know, there's just something about I've got into a very independent space, whereas actually I do want to have that connection, whether that's in friendships, relationships, whichever, alongside that balance of being independent.
I love this for you, girl. Oh my God, you are so calm and articulate and exquisite in expressing yourself. It's so easy to get drawn in to you because you're so vulnerable, and I feel that emotional. And I feel like more people need to do that, because I feel like, no, it's just so nice listening to you, and so nice to have that permission to be vulnerable. Yeah. And admitting these sorts of things, and taking me a long while to do that. And you're doing it really like quietly, confidently. And I love that about you. Anyway, so
I love you.
I love you. At the end of these, right, we tend to ask what kind of questions that people are asking Reddit, which we love. Sam and I were like, oh my God, we need to ask, like, what are people asking Reddit? Because we feel it's so important to talk to people about what we've talked about.
Yeah.
Okay, so a few questions that came up, and I'll read a few and we can decide which one you want to answer. How do you trust your intuition after a breakup? You've kind of answered that. I ended a long relationship and didn't recognise myself. Is that normal? Love that question. Is it selfish to take a day off for self-care? That's the point. Slightly selfish, but that's that word, it's like a bit of a paradoxical sentence.
Yeah.
Is it selfish to take time off for self-care?
Yeah.
No. Can financial independence change how you show up in relationships? Why do women ignore their gut feelings in long-term relationships? And how do you rebuild your identity in your 30s? Any of those like feel like they jump out at you?
Oh, I think the gut feeling one is a massive one for me. Yes.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so 6 years of, as I said, was the best relationship of my life. It really was. I'm so, so grateful. And I think everyone you meet makes you who you are today. And my ex, like, I think there's still a lot of care and love for him in obviously a different way now. But yeah, there were loads of gut feelings. There were loads of signs that I just ignored over the 6 years. And that's because there was a lot of love there.
Yeah.
And it was hard. I mean, you build a friendship. When it's a long-term relationship, you've built a friendship. They become your best friend.
Absolutely.
So to have that gut feeling and ignore it is completely normal and completely valid.
Absolutely.
But it's that point of, is that gut feeling getting louder?
Yes.
And if it is, something needs to change. So during the 6 years, we did have breaks and things because my gut feeling was like, oh, and then we'd come back together and my gut feeling quietened again. And I was like, do you know what? Something shifted here. We're good. We're fine. Let's keep going with this. But then I was turning 30 and that gut feeling was like, mate, you need to listen to me now because you are not in the same place and it's not fair on you and it's not fair on him. You've got to listen to it. If that gut feeling is staying there, if it's loud, listen to it.
It's so
and
true,
know that it's not just good for you, it's good for that other person as well.
You can tell she's a life coach, can't you? Shit.
I don't do one-to-one sessions, I'm afraid, but
well, you just
sorry, I'm gonna have to now.
God, Emily, you are an absolute force, literally and figuratively. Thank you so much for joining me today. You've made me laugh, you made me cry, which not everybody does, but you've managed it. Please come back on again. We'll do this again in the future, see where we are. We'll do it after the Vision Board workshops. Yes, I just wish you nothing but amazingness. And I still feel like there's this connection between us that's so unspoken. It makes me feel dead emotional. Talking to
it's
you.
Like,
it's something, there's an energy.
Yeah.
Which I just think you're incredible. Thank you so much for coming on. You've been the most amazing guest. And I just wish you nothing but love for your future and finding a man not on Tinder.
In the bookshop.
No.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, babe. That's it for today's Barefaced Chat. Thank you so much for listening. If you've loved this conversation, make sure you follow, rate, and share. It really helps more people find us and join the conversation. I'll be back next week with another honest, unfiltered chat. Because skin isn't just skin. It's your story, and I'm here for it.